In this class, when we call something an experimental study design, what we're talking about are true experiments. We're talking about studies that are at the level 1 of level of evidence. So these are studies that we're comfortable saying can show causation. A true experimental design is always prospective. It may be cross-sectional or longitudinal, so it may happen in one period of time, or it may require multiple measurements over multiple periods of time, but it's always prospective and uh, may be cross-sectional or longitudinal. It may also be either post-test or pre-post. You may measure the dependent variable before the intervention and after, or just afterwards. It also always has random group assignment. So there are always multiple groups. One group is considered your control group, and at least one other group gets the intervention that you're interested in. We'll also talk about something called a crossover design and counterbalancing as another way of creating multiple groups. So what makes something a true experiment? There's manipulation of variables. So there needs to be at least one active independent variable that you can assign to different people. So you can't do a study based on grouping people by age. That's a true experiment because you can't randomly assign people to different age groups. So there needs to be random assignment to the groups, and there needs to be at least two groups. So one group to serve as a control group and one group to get the intervention that's being tested. So random assignment to groups is different than sampling, and we will talk about both of those processes in this class. So you have an entire population. From that, you take a sample to get the subjects in the study. Those subjects then get randomly assigned to different groups. The control group is some sort of equivalent group of subjects where any difference between the groups is going to be due to chance. And different studies do different things with their control groups. So some control groups may get no intervention at all. Some may get a placebo, and some may get standard practice. So it's not the case that a control group has to get no sort of treatment. They may very well get standard practice. Another way of referring to control groups or to study groups is treatment arms. When you see the term treatment arms, that's referring to all of the different groups, including the control group. We talk about randomized and controlled trials. That's what RCT stands for, randomized and controlled trials. And what we're doing through randomization and control is trying to eliminate those competing explanations for why we get the outcomes that we get in the dependent measure. So randomized, when we're assigning people to different groups, we're hoping that they're going to be very similar groups except for the intervention that we're getting. So we're hoping to eliminate a lot of those other potential causes. And what we're trying to eliminate are these confounding or lurking variables. Right? So when you see the term confounding or lurking variable, those are those alternative explanations for why we could have gotten the outcome that we did.